Hello everyone, this is Daniel with fitnessblender.com, and today we're going to be doing an upper body strength training routine. Now we're going to be using traditional exercises, but we're going to be doing them in a very irregular way to make those muscles have to work that much harder, especially having them work through that core to control everything. So you're going to need a set of dumbbells and an optional exercise bench. If you don't have an exercise bench, that's perfectly fine. The ones you need it for, you can do just laying down on the ground. As far as your warm up and cool down, we've got both of those in there, so you don't need to worry about that. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with our warm-up. All right, everybody, before we can jump into our strength section, we need to warm up a little bit first so we don't pull any muscles. Let's go ahead and get our timer started here. So each one of these, we're going to be going for 30 seconds apiece, just going through nice and slow, trying to really warm those muscles up. Our first one is to start nice and small muscles, doing wrist rolls. So stand nice and even, nice neutral back. You're just going to roll those hands open and then open again, just so you're rolling your wrist and your forearm just a little bit. So get a good stretch back, kind of flexing your arms back and in, kind of trying to touch back towards your wrist. Just back and forth, keep those lungs open. Next one, we're going on to shoulder shrug circles. So instead of just a shoulder shrug, we're going to do a circle. So squeeze them forward, squeeze them back forward, and just back and forth, kind of like you're doing a circle around that shoulder joint. Kind of front to back every single time. Get a good shrug at the top each time. All right, alternating side bend and reach, so just kind of nice and slow. Step off to the side, bring one leg back behind you, or the leg that you're leaning away from. Same thing off to the other side. Step and reach. Should get a nice stretch all the way down through that torso. Just keep those lungs open. Just trying to get as good of a stretch every single time as you can. All right, squat, push, pulls are next. So work against yourself here. Push out, working against yourself. Then as you come up, pull in like you're doing a row. So press out like a chest press, pull in like a row. And you can change if you want to do close and back in close, or wide and back in wide. And same exact thing with your arms, but you're going to be doing it in a deadlift. So press over your head, down, and press down or press up as you go over your head, and draw back down as you come back up. So do that deadlift, squeezing down or pressing out, that is, and then come back up straight as you squeeze those arms back down to your sides. Press forward, tip forward that deadlift, and back up. So focusing on also stretching out those hamstrings just a little bit. And back up straight. We're going to do nice big arm circles around behind you, in front, and then back. So alternating directions every single time. Try to get that circle as wide as you possibly can, covering as much distance as you can. Again, just keep those lungs open. All right, torso circles are next, so keep your hips straight up and down, your tips straight forward, rounding that back, lean off to the one side, left or right, doesn't matter, out back behind you, off to the other side, pause in the center, and then back the opposite direction. Again, alternating directions every single time. Trying to get as much of a round forward to the side and back as you can as you move. All right, so squatted torso rotations. You're gonna do a little bit of a squat, just straight down, hands straight out in front, rotate left to right. Just keep that back perfectly flat. So rotating left to right, get a tight squeeze as far as you can to each side. while holding that squat. And let that relax. All right, just gonna go into a little bit of a boxer shuffle. Just let those feet move. Warm up those ankles just a little bit. Get your cardio come up just a little more. Warm your body up just a smidge. Last one is going to be some jumping jacks. We got a few more seconds to do this. Kind of let your body warm up. You might notice your breathing rate has increased ever so slightly. Just try to take nice big deep breaths. Try to stretch out those lungs. All right, we're doing up and out jacks next. So regular jumping jack and a front jack. Keep those lungs open. Keep those arms nice and straight. No bending those elbows. And speed it up if you can. Almost done. And let it relax. All right, give yourself just a second to gather your dumbbells and your bench if you have one. We'll be right back to start into that upper body strength training. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started with our strength section. So what we're gonna be doing with this is an alternating motion. So it's a traditional exercise. We're doing it one arm at a time. So for example, our first exercise is a chest fly. We're gonna do one arm, then the other arm, simultaneously alternating back and forth, okay? It's gonna be a little bit weird, so definitely use less weight than you would normally do for a simultaneous both arms at the same time traditional chest fly. So with that said, we're doing 3 sets of each one of these exercises in an AB format, and we're just gonna kind of work our way through the list of exercises we have. Let me get my timer started here. Our first exercise, like I said, is a chest fly. I'm gonna be using right around 20 pounds for this. Feel free to grab whatever you want. All right, laying flat on your back, nice and slow. One arm at a time, comes out to the side, back up over top of your chest before the other one drops. You might feel yourself have to kick those feet out a little bit wider to keep your balance on that bench. Just keep those lungs open, just alternating back and forth. Nice slow controlled movement, just a slight bend in that elbow. Down as low as you can go comfortably, and right back over top of that chest, ending with that wrist right above that shoulder joint. And let it relax. All right, we're doing bent over reverse fly next. And we're doing this with 12 pounds per hand, so a little lighter. Nice flat back. You're just gonna tip straight forward. So arms come up and out to the sides, but again, one at a time. So one arm comes up, back down to center. Other arm comes up, back down the center. Try to make sure that you're keeping your chest perfectly level, flat down with the ground. As you do this, especially with one arm at a time, you're gonna have a tendency to want to open your chest up. So don't do that. Just focus on keeping that chest parallel to the ground, one arm at a time. Let that relax. Back to our chest fly. So grab that weight again. All right, hands straight up. Again, one arm at a time. Nice and slow off to the side. Back up over top of that chest. Same thing on the other side. Just focus on that form. Nice, slow, controlled movements. And don't hold your breath. I'm try to get one more in here, some lopsided. All right, and switch sides, or switch that reverse fly next. And up with one arm, and then the other. Again, trying to keep that chest parallel to the ground. No opening it up as you lift that arm. You're gonna have a tendency to want to tilt your chest to get a little extra range of motion just to make you feel like you're doing more. But don't let your body cheat. Just focus on nice, clean form. All right, back for our last round of each of these exercises. One at a time, nice and slow out to the side. Back up over your chest, and off to the other side. And you'll notice that core has to work a lot harder to keep you stabilized. Which is why this is so much more difficult than just doing it with both arms, because then you can just kind of isolate your upper body. With this, you've got to get all kinds of other muscles involved. And these kinds of motions do a better job of mimicking real life. All right. Back for that last round of the reverse fly. Nice flat back. Go straight forward. One arm at a time. Up and out to the side. Back down. Just keep those lungs open. Keep that chest parallel to the ground. And focus on that form. Slight bend in that elbow. Flat back. Main thing is just keep those lungs open, but you can time your breathing with it if you want. And let that relax. Okay. Our next two exercises are going to be lateral raises and dumbbell pullovers. So I'm going to drop my weight a little bit for these lateral raises. Make sure I can get through them here. So standing straight up and tall. No bend in that back. Feet just about shoulder width apart. You can bring those arms up and out to the side as high as you can without opening your palm up. So your palm's going to stay facing down towards the ground. So you should only be able to get a little above shoulder height, maybe about a 45-degree angle above shoulder height. Any higher than that and your shoulder joint range of motion is going to stop you. Just because that's where that joint stops. Oh, and I'm doing them both arms. See, your body wants to try to cheat. Your body's trying to get you to do these. Sorry about that. All right, let's drop that weight. Go back to, we're going to dumbbell pullovers next. Increase my weight just a little bit. Keep in mind, one at a time, one at a time. All right. So one arm goes over top of your head, down as low as is comfortable, and then you bring it right back over top of that chest before that other arm drops out and back up. Keep those lungs open, no holding your breath. If you want to, it's going to be exhale on the way down, inhale on the way back up. Or you can always reverse that if it feels more comfortable the other way. All right. Back to our lateral raises. Hopefully I'll do them right this time. So again, same motion, one arm at a time. Up and out to the side, as high as you can get it. Back down, same thing on the other side. If you want to make this a little bit harder for core, bring those feet closer together. Makes you have to work on that balance a little bit more. If you're a real glutton for punishment, you can even do this single leg. Just take your time. Nice fluid range of motion. Keeping those lungs open. Going as high as you possibly can. And go ahead and get one more in here to make sure I'm even. And go ahead and drop those. Let that weight back up just a smidge. And back down on the ground or on that bench. All right, nice and slow. One arm at a time. Those lungs open. Nice, slow, controlled movement. And let that relax. All right, still have one more of each. Back to our lateral raises. Nice and straight and tall, one arm at a time. Up as high as you can, back down to your side. If you have a mirror in front of you, try to make sure you're checking yourself to keep that form clean and making sure you're going to the same height on each side. Have a big tendency to have one side stronger than the other. It's kind of just a normal thing for everybody. So one side might have more range of motion, might have more strength. Always try to match it to the weaker side. So the max of the weaker side. And then just build that weaker side as best you can until it's the same as your strong side. All right, one more on the other side again. And then we've got our pullovers. All right, last round of pullovers. On your back, hands over top of your head. And one arm at a time. Keep those lungs open. Keep that form clean, core engaged. One more on the other side, so I'm even, and let it relax. All right, that is halfway through this portion of the strength set, so go grab a drink of water. We'll be right back to finish off the second half here in just a second. All right, as you can see, I got rid of my bench. We're not gonna be doing any more exercises laying down. All the rest of these are standing up. So make sure you have your dumbbells handy. We're still gonna be using those. Let me get my timer started here. We're starting off with a hammer curl. So I'm gonna be trying to stick through with 20 pounds all the way on this one. Just do whatever it feels comfortable for you. Keep those elbows pulled back, palms facing in towards one another. Again, one arm at a time, nice and slow, up towards that shoulder. Squeezing that hand up towards that shoulder as high as you can, as tight as you can, back down. Nice, slow, controlled motion. Keep those lungs open. Nice neutral spine, feet about shoulder width apart. Tight squeeze. Slow and controlled, no jerking or swinging. All that does is create momentum, which is a way to cheat. So make sure you move slow. If you need to drop your weight, drop your weight. It's all about clean form, not how much weight you can lift. One more on the other side, make sure I'm even. And we're now doing a bent over tricep extension. I'm going to drop my weight down. Step back just a little bit. You're going to bend straight forward like a deadlift with a slight bend in your knee. Pull those elbows up to your sides and extend your arms straight back. Again, one at a time. Keep those lungs open. Full extension on those arms. You're trying to get your arm flattened out, completely parallel with the ground. Your upper arm should stay parallel with the ground the entire time. So keep those elbows kind of pulled up next to that chest, next to that rib cage. Just keep those lungs open. And let it relax. All right, back to the hammer curl. I'm going to try to stick with that 20 pounds for as long as I can. Standing nice and straight and tall. Big deep breath. One arm at a time. Squeeze it up nice and tight. Same thing on the other side. Tight squeeze. Back down. Last one on that side. Switching back. Tip forward, flat back, elbows to your rib cage, one arm at a time, full extension straight back behind you. Just focus on that form. Strength training is usually relatively slow and boring, but you need to make sure you keep that form solid. You need to make sure you're tiring those muscles out so you get that muscle rip. Tight, tight squeeze each time. One more of each. Okay. Tight squeeze up to that shoulder. Same thing on the other side. These last set of 4 exercises are a little easier as far as balance and coordination, activation of that core. Even a little bit of difference left to right in where that weight is stacked causes that core to have to completely adjust to hold everything nice and straight. So anytime you can do things slightly off balanced makes that core and that coordination really, really have to work hard. Just make sure you're doing it even on both sides. Relax, same thing, or one more for that tricep extension. We got 2 more exercises before we're done with this strength set, and we get to do our cool down. Flat back, elbows to your sides. Extend one arm at a time. Keep that form solid, keep those elbows up. Upper arm perpendicular to the ground, extending that arm perfectly out flat to the ground every time. And let it relax. All right, 2 new exercises. We're doing shoulder shrugs for the first one and a front raise for the second one. I'm going to start with 24 pounds per hand for our shoulder shrug. Standing nice and straight and tall. Bring them both in front. One arm comes up, around, and back behind. Then the other, and back. I feel like I'm doing a dance here. Shrug it up, behind, and back. Because this is kind of a repeating motion, leading with that right arm, we're going to make sure we switch sides for our next set. So just be cognizant of that kind of thing. It can make a difference in the long run if you do it a lot. All right, so next one is our front raise. I'm going to go really nice and light on this one. So you're going to stand up straight and tall. Palms facing back towards your leg. Or sorry, no, we're going to do palms up. So palms facing up away from you. You do one arm as high as you can. Should be able to get this pretty much over top of your head. And back down. Nice, slow, controlled motion. Keep the rest of your body as straight as you possibly can, like nothing else is going on. So nice neutral spine. Shoulders stay flat and pulled back and down. No shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears. No pulling your shoulders forward or bending over forward at the waist or lower back. Keep it as basically stationary as possible. All right, one more on the other side just to make sure I'm matching. And all right, so back to that shoulder shrug. So like I said, we want to make sure we switch. So we're starting with your left side this time. Palms facing in. Lift that shoulder up and behind you. Same thing on the other side. So my shoulders are moving front to back, but my chest is staying stationary. So make sure you're not rotating your chest or your torso along with that shrug motion. Bring it back forward. And back to that front raise. Move quick. All right. Front raise again. Palms facing up. One arm at a time. Straight up over your head. Back down. Same thing on the other side. Back down. Again, just keep those lungs open. If you want to, it's exhale on the way up. Inhale on the way back down. The main thing is, just don't hold your breath. Makes that diaphragm, those intercostal muscles, the rib cage, your core muscles, your abs, obliques, and lower back all have to work a lot harder, keeping those lungs open. And let it relax. All right, back to the shoulder shrug. All right, we're gonna try to get a little more mentally complicated on this one this time. So we're gonna alternate each one. So it's up, back, forward, forward, then start right back over that left side. Back, back, forward, forward, start back over the right. So this way, we're trying to get as even as we can which arm is leading. Oops, start over. Left again. Brain's having trouble with this one. Leading with your left. And let it relax. All right, we have one more of the front raise before we get to do our cool down here. So back again, perfectly straight up and down, palms facing forward. One arm comes up over your head, and the opposite side. Keep everything as solid as you possibly can. No tilting forward, no rotating, no shrugging your shoulders, squeezing them forward or back. You want to try to keep everything else as stationary as possible. Just that arm is moving to make everything have to work as hard as you can. Remember, if you have to bend that elbow really excessively, there's only be a slight bend in that arm, then you need to use lighter weights, or if you can't quite get that arm all the way over your head. All right, that is it. My arms are already starting to feel pretty jelly, so I think we did a good job. If you didn't feel really jelly by the end of it, just use more weight the next time you come through it. All right, give yourself a little bit of a break, grab a drink of water. We'll be back to do our cool down in just a second. All right, everybody, all we have left is our cool down and stretch. So let's go ahead and get our timer started here. This one, just take your time with. Nice, slow, full stretches. Keep your lungs open just like the rest of the routine. We're starting off with an arm cross stretch. You can bring your left arm across in front of your chest, grab behind that elbow, and pull straight across in front of your chest. You should feel it through the back of your shoulder, a little bit into your the front of your shoulder, and mainly you're just trying to let that upper shoulder and back stretch out just a little bit. So pull it across as far as you can. Keep those lungs open. We're constantly kind of pulling on that elbow across your body with that other arm and keeping it up into your collarbone area as tightly as you can. And switch sides. Grab the elbow on the other side, pull across, up against your body. Now you might not feel this stretch really, really intensely. A lot of people's upper back is pretty limber anyway from their addiction to tech. Whether you're wrapped over a keyboard or on your phone, you tend to have a lot of time to stretch out that upper back. So you might not feel a whole lot of stretch here, but still needs to be done. And let it relax. We're doing an overhead tricep stretch. So left hand comes back to that left shoulder, grab that left elbow with your right arm, and pull across as far as is comfortable. If you can't get it behind your head or you don't have as much range of motion as me, don't worry. Just pull it as far as you can until you feel that little bit of a stretch. Just hold it there. As it starts to loosen up, just pull a little bit more. You don't want it to be super, super intense. You just want to be able to feel that stretch. All right, same thing on the other side. Bring that other arm over. Right hand to right shoulder, grab that right elbow with your left hand and pull across. Get those lungs open. Should be feeling this through the back of your arm as well as a little bit through the outside of that shoulder, maybe into those lats just a little bit. Next one, you're going to need an open wall or door frame. Let that relax. Find yourself a wall, hand facing back behind you, fingers facing back behind you, palm flat against the wall, and you're going to turn away from that arm as much as you can. You should feel it through that chest almost immediately, up into that shoulder just a little bit. If you're feeling it really heavily in that bicep, then just kind of roll that arm up, facing up. If you want to feel it more in your bicep, keep that elbow facing, or inside that elbow facing forward. If you want to feel it more on that forearm and that palm of that hand, then kind of walk back on that hand a little bit more. Do the same thing on the other side. So fingers facing back behind you, just about shoulder height. Open that chest up away from that hand as much as you can. Main thing is feeling it in that chest, a little bit into that shoulder. Again, rotate that shoulder or rotate that elbow wherever you need to get that stretch you want. And walk back on that arm just a little bit to feel it more in the palm of your hand. Really good way to stretch out the palm of your hand. Relax. Okay, both hands are going to go on the wall this time. Push your chest down between those arms. You can also do this in a door frame, just putting your hands over top of your head and just kind of walking through, or to the sides of the door frame and walking through just a little bit. Just trying to stretch out that chest in a little bit different way. And let that one relax. All right, we're doing a toe touch behind the arm stretch next. So feet just about shoulder width apart. You can go straight down, grab those hands behind your back, and pull them back over top of your head, just as far as is comfortable. You might not feel a bunch here. Another way of doing this is, instead of doing a toe touch version of it, you can actually stand next to like a high bar or countertop, something like that. Put your hands on top of the countertop and then just kind of squat down a little bit until you get the same type of stretch to your shoulder. And let it relax. So wrist stretch is next. So we're going to grab those fingers, pull them down and back as much as you can. If you want to, you can actually kind of grab that thumb, pull it in there as well. Trying to get those fingers pulled back as much as you can. So you want to feel that stretch through the palm of your hand and through that wrist. This is a great one for people who suffer from carpal tunnel if your hands are a little bit too tight, or if you do push-ups and your wrists bother you. This is a good one to stretch those palms out. And same thing on the other side. Grab that thumb and those fingers. You want to get those fingers and thumb to stretch back a little bit behind the plane of your palm, as well as trying to get that palm back as far as you can. Just kind of stretch it as much as is comfortable. Like I said, if you have trouble doing push-ups with a flat palm, this is a great exercise or a great stretch to help limber up those wrists a little bit so you can do that more comfortably. Let that relax. We're going to be doing a Cobra next. So down on the ground, palms right underneath those shoulders. Arch that back up. Pull your shoulders back behind you. Just, if you can lock those elbows out, go ahead. If you're not quite limber enough to do that, that's fine. Just go up as high as you possibly can. Whatever is comfortable for you. Make sure you have those shoulders pulled back and down. You can even kind of push that chin up towards the ceiling a little bit more to get a little extra stretch to that chest and neck. And back into a shell stretch. So you're going to sit back on those heels. Hands out in front of you. Let that back round a little bit. And draw those hands in towards the sides of your knees and press down into the ground to round that back out as much as you possibly can. And let it relax. All right, guys, that is the end of our stretch and cool down for this routine. I hope you enjoyed the routine. I know it's a little bit of a weird one, but it's fantastic for that overall coordination and strength. So, see you guys next time. This workout is complete.